Well, good morning. It's an honor to be here today, and I am so proud of my husband. When Fred got the call that he was receiving this award, I was so happy and excited for him. He later told me that he was supposed to let them know who he would like to introduce him. I thought for a minute and said, "Gosh, honey, I would love to do that." A few days later, he showed me the press release, and it hit me. What was I thinking in front of all these people? At first, I panicked, and then I remembered what I learned in a Dale Carnegie course many years ago. It's very easy to talk about something that you're familiar with and something that you love. Well, I love Fred Cerrone, and who better to introduce him than his high school sweetheart and his wife of 55 years. Now, I did tell him he better behave himself because he has no idea what I'm about to say. Fred loves to tell the story about how he fell in love with me because I was the best cheerleader on the squad at the high school where we met and started dating. Now, I know there are some of you in the audience that have seen me do a cheer. Trust me, I promise I won't do that now. We have had an incredible life together, and Lord willing, we'll have many more years to share with our family and our friends. God has blessed us with 2 beautiful daughters, Rachel and Heather, 2 wonderful son-in-laws, 7 incredible grandchildren, 4 darling granddaughters-in-laws, 3 great-grandchildren, and we have 3 more on the way. We are overwhelmed with God's grace, love, and mercy. As you have read in the press release, Fred has received many awards over the past 55 years, and I'm here to tell you that Fred did not win those awards because of what he did. Fred won those awards because of who he is. Fred is a man of integrity, a man who cares for people. Fred served in the military, coached Little League, participated in many mission trips, and has mentored countless people. He encourages people to be happy in what they're doing, and if not, for them to find something that gives them joy. Fred has always been goal-oriented, and with hard work and long hours, he reaches those goals. And he is a humble man and gives credit and recognizes those that work alongside him. Fred is a giving person, and not just monetarily. He gives of his time and shares his wisdom to those that seek out his expertise in this crazy fun business. Fred knows the hotel business. He's an expert. Look at his track record. It speaks for itself. It is Fred's love for people, his relationships, that makes this journey challenging, interesting, and rewarding. Fred has taught me so much over the years. I'm so fortunate that he always has shared the ups and downs of the business, the exciting times and the not so exciting times. He's taught me some of those buzzwords, RevPAR, market share, M&As. I have kiddingly said, "Honey, I think I could manage that hotel." And he kind of laughs, and I do too. Fred loves people. He cares and loves his family very much. One of Fred's most cherished times is when he's sitting on the front porch, smoking a cigar, and sharing his life stories with our grandchildren. Sometimes I crack the door and listen, and I can't really hear what they're saying, but it just warms my heart to hear them all laughing at one of their grandfather's stories. He used to tuck Rachel and Heather in at night and tell them little Freddie stories. What Fred does each day and has done for 55 years is to live with a purpose. Above all else, Fred loves the Lord, and he is passionate about sharing that love through his work and his everyday life. Did I mention that Fred loves baseball? I want you to all know that I am Fred Cerrone's #1 cheerleader. And let me tell you, Fred Cerrone is someone to cheer about. Please welcome the recipient of the 2023 Hunters Conference Award for Excellence and Inspiration, my husband, my best friend, my soulmate, Fred Cerrone.
I am not Fred. Good morning, Hunter Conference. Hope everybody's doing well. It's so great to see everybody. I'm Brad Rahinsky. I'm President and CEO of Hotel Equities, and I've been given the honor and privilege just to say a couple words. I'll be brief. It's nice to be up here on the big stage and see everybody. Typically, Lee and Teague have me relegated to the subterranean level in some closet doing a panel, so this is pretty nice. Didn't know it was up here. You just heard Christine, I call her Mimi, talk about Coach, and he's everything that she just talked about. He's a couple other things. Let me get you up to speed on who this man is. He absolutely loves his family and is loyal to them to a fault, like I've never seen, and it's beautiful. He loves the Lord. He is a strong believer, and while he's a humble guy and this recognition is for him, he's already given the honor and the glory to the Father. And I'm certain of that, because that's who he is. He loves this industry, 55 years in it, the last 35 leading Hotel Equities to where we are today, and in my estimation, a peerless leader in our space and in all spaces. He's just a better human being and has made me better. He also loves Hotel Equities and our 9,000 associates, also almost to a fault sometimes. And what he's taught us in those last 35 years has just led us to where we are here today. I'll tell you a quick story about this man. I was up in D.C. a couple weeks ago and at a meeting and was with a bunch of peers, and one of the individuals who's a prolific developer, and I'm sure a number of you all know him, was talking about all the things that he's been developing over the past 50 years. And he's a good guy, and he's a great developer and well-respected in the industry. And he started to talk about this development and that development, and he was kind of going through timelines and how the project got done and how they were completed and where they are today. And as he was talking about that, I wondered how many men and women he's developed. How many folks has he developed to become leaders in our space and leaders in their households and leaders in their community? And he's a good guy, but it made me think about what a privilege I've had the past 11 years to be side by side with this man who's receiving this award today, who's led and taught selflessly more men and women than anyone I've ever known. And so that's why we're here today, to honor him. I want to thank him for all that he's done for me, selflessly. I love him. He's my partner. He's our chairman, founder. He's my friend, and I think, once again, the best in the business. Please help me in recognizing Coach as this year's recipient of the Excellence and Inspiration Award.
Wow. It's tough to follow that act. Those acts, I should say. Well, good morning. I'm both humbled and honored to be here today, and I thank you for joining us. It's hard to imagine being selected for this prestigious award. Like most awards and recognition of this type, it can only be made possible by the combined efforts and support of many others. So as Brad suggested, I would definitely consider this a team award. Therefore, let me take just a moment to recognize a few people. First of all, I'd like to recognize God and thank him for the gifts and talents that he's given me that have matched this great industry that we're in called hospitality. And also my family, of course. My beautiful wife, Christine, of 55 years. Some people, when they first meet us, they look at her and hear her start talking about grandchildren and look at me and say to themselves, trophy wife. But she wasn't kidding. It's been 55 years. All 55 years I've been in the business, she's been along my side. She's been my biggest cheerleader. Our 2 daughters are here today, and most of our 7 grandchildren, I believe, are here as well. And thank you for doing that. Thank you for being a part of this journey, which took us from Boston to Miami to Orlando to New York to Orlando to Shreveport, Louisiana, and finally to Atlanta. And thank you to my partner, Brad Rahinsky, who you just saw. What a great CEO. I get humbled when I hear him say some things, but he, in my opinion, is a far better CEO than I ever was. Thank you to the leadership team at Hotel Equities and to our fellow teammates. Other than our eventual departure from this earth and having to pay taxes along the way, I believe we all have a few things in common. One of them is we're not likely to have grown up thinking we were going to be in the hotel business. I won't ask you to raise your hands, but in my case, I thought I was going to be a pharmacist. And secondly, I think we're all searching for significance. By that I mean, when we leave this earth, I think we'd like to think that maybe somebody misses us. And also that maybe we made a difference. Speaking of significance, let me share a short story with you. Because I almost left the hotel business because I didn't think I was doing anything significant. I called my pastor. I said, "Can I come see you?" He said, "Yes." He said, "What's up, Fred?" And I said, "I'm thinking about leaving the hotel business." He said, "You got to be kidding me. You're president of the Hotel Association. You won this award or that award." And I said, "Yeah, but I don't think I'm doing anything significant." He says, "Well, let me remind you of a story." He said there were a young couple that were away from their home, and she was pregnant, and she was about to have a child, and he was frantically looking for a safe place to have that child. And he saw this inn. He went to the inn, and the innkeeper came out and said, "I'm sorry, but I'm full. I don't have any rooms. But I will make a safe place for you to have your child." And he did. And he said, "Fred," as he looked me in the eye, "do you know if there were more hotels back then, guess who would have been born in a hotel? And you don't think you're doing anything significant." So I left the church, and I was on my way back to the hotel, a little bit confused, a little bit enlightened. I happened to pass this Christian bookstore. I was pulled in. I wasn't sure why I was going in there. I came across this rack of books that were on sale for 50 cents a piece. I reached in my pocket. I had $90. I bought 180 of them. I was running a 216-room Sheraton at the time, but I just thought we should try putting these in the rooms. So I went back and talked to my executive housekeeper. We put one in each of the rooms. I told her to tell me every Friday at payday, and I'll go get some more if we're missing some. She did. 1 week went by, 2 weeks went by, 3 weeks went by. On the 4th week, I got a call from a gentleman. He said, "Mr. Cerrone, I'm calling to thank you." And I said, "Oh, great. When did you stay with us? And which one of our associates impressed you the most?" He said, "No, I didn't stay with you." He said, "But I have a story to tell you." He said, "My 16-year-old daughter ran away from home. She got on a bus in Dallas. She got off the bus in Shreveport, Louisiana. And she was picked up by 2 gentlemen, and she was brought to your hotel. And while they were out smoking and, I guess, considering what they were going to do with her, she reached in the drawer and she came across this book. She said she brought it home. I have it in front of me. It's called the Journey Book. And she was reminded of some of the truths that my wife and I had taught her. I just want to thank you for putting those in the rooms." I said thank you to him. I hung up the phone. I got down on my knees. I said, "Okay, God, I'm staying." And that was 40 years ago. I'd like to share a few things, excuse me, that I've learned during my 55 years in hospitality. I'll go quickly. Regarding work, we should enjoy the work that we do because we do it a lot on our waking hours, and life's too short not to enjoy it. Regarding time, we should live our life as if we're running out of time, because you know what? We are. Regarding priorities, we all ought to have priorities in our life. Excuse me. In my case, what's helped me is I put God first, I put my family second, and my work third. We should live our life on purpose. Christine mentioned that. Other than the most popular book of all times, the book that had the most impact on me was a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. We have Hotel Equities has a booth in the trade show, booth number 707, and we have some abbreviated versions of that book called What on Earth Am I Here For? If you'd like to stop by and get one until the supplies are out, be happy to have you take one. We also have some baseball cards for those of you that have kids that you might want to bring something back to, and they're available to you. Regarding leadership, when we assume a position of leadership, we also assume a responsibility for those that we're called to lead, and we should consider it a privilege. Regarding goals, we all ought to take the time to have goals in our life. If we don't, we become susceptible to the goals of others. And by doing that, we may just end up someplace where we didn't intend to be. Regarding failure, we should learn from our mistakes, as well as the mistakes of others, because we're probably not going to live long enough to make them all ourselves. Regarding happiness, I'm a firm believer that happiness begins with a thankful heart. On becoming a leader, don't take yourself too seriously, because it's not about you. In closing, let me thank you for being here. Your willingness to share this time with me means the world to me. I hope you have a great conference. I hope you find significance in your work and in your life. I hope you come to realize that you too matter to God. Let's treat this day as if it's special, because you know what? It is, in fact, a gift, and the reason it's called a present. Thank you. Let's go win the day.